This is a Cyber Threat Intelligence Plan by Blasius for the University of San Diego Cyber Intelligence course. On this slide, I'll be discussing the threat risk and the actors. The first actor I'll be discussing is Nordstrom. Nordstrom represents a low risk to the company due to their likelihood of conducting a malicious cyber attack being highly unlikely. Nordstrom does represent a minor threat to the company in terms of competitor sales. Nordstrom has been refocusing its sales strategies from retail stores to online stores, making them a direct competitor. The next two bullet points I'd like to discuss is the state-sponsored criminal hackers and the hacktivists. State-sponsored criminal hackers and hacktivists represent an overall high risk to the company due to their threat capabilities, intentions, and methods. All the company's customers' transactions occur via the online POS system. An attack on the online POS system would represent a direct threat to not only the company itself, but the company's employees as well as their customers. Such an attack would increase the likelihood of losing customers due to the lack of faith and integrity of the company's point-of-sale system. A malicious attack being conducted on the company by a state-sponsored criminal hacker group, like the one conducted on Yahoo, potentially can cause damage to the company's customers, employees, and the company as a whole by stealing personal identifiable information, or PII. They'll also steal money and proprietary information. National governments see this method of attack as an effective alternative to armed conflict against not just the company, but the country the company resides in. Hacktivist organizations such as Anonymous have declared to the White House that DDoS, or distributed denial of service attacks, are a legitimate form of protest. The concern here is that hacktivists often will target a company because they do not like the company's business practices, or they just deem the company to be too greedy. In the case of the DYN DDoS cyber attack, the hacktivist organization Anonymous conducted its cyber attack to protest the Ecuadorian embassy in London for refusing Julian Assange, who is the founder of WikiLeaks, access to the internet. On this slide, I'll be discussing the delivery method. The first bullet point refers specifically to Nordstrom. Nordstrom is highly unlikely to conduct any type of malicious cyber attack on the company. However, they are likely to buy out the company through legal means. This is done simply by buying up stock in the company, and then once having controlling shares, they can do what they like with the company. The second bullet point I'd like to address is phishing. Phishing is a social engineering way of launching an attack. What they'll do is they'll send an email, and on the email they'll have a attachment or a hyperlink embedded in the email. Once the employee clicks on either the attachment or the hyperlink, the damage is done and the virus has been launched. Spear phishing and whaling are very similar, except spear phishing is a very specific email where they'll actually impersonate another member of the company, such as human resources department, and they'll make the employee believe that it is a legitimate email. Spear phishing emails become they're much more difficult to spot. Whaling is very similar to spear phishing, however, whaling is used to target upper management as well as executive officers of a company. The third point I'd like to discuss is the distributed denial of service attacks. This is a very common type of attack, not just for hacktivists, but also for cyber criminals. And the hacktivists, they have liked this type of attack in the past. In fact, the group Anonymous, they've actually declared that this is a legitimate form of protest. They sent the letter to the White House asking the White House to recognize that DDoS attacks should be seen as legitimate forms of protest, just like holding a sign on the street. State-sponsored actors have also been using DDoS attacks. Specifically, they use it in the DYN cyber attack. That particular attack caused millions of dollars of damage and effectively shut down the internet on the entire East Coast of the United States, as well as several other countries for several hours. These delivery methods are not the only way of hacktivists as well as state-sponsored cyber criminals to conduct attacks. However, they have been becoming more and more common. Phishing is still the preferred way, not just for DDoS attacks, but also for DOS attacks and several other types of attacks. DDoS has become more and more common simply for the fact that you can even buy it online and launch it, or pay somebody else to launch it for you. Now, one of the other things that makes the DDoS attacks so dangerous for the company is DDoS attacks will actually prevent customers from entering the company site, and sometimes it'll even send customers to a malicious site that would do damage to the customer's personal computers. This would result in loss of repeated customers and even prevent future customers from attempting to enter our company's website. Even if the malicious threat had been eliminated, there's still the fear of falling victim to another cyber attack, since your company now has a reputation of being a non-secure website. So these are definitely attacks that we want to make sure we do everything we can to mitigate. This slide I'll be discussing the recommendations to mitigate the risks to the company's information technology infrastructure. It is recommended that the company take a practical approach that is proactive and holistic, and to secure the network and information systems. This can be done by investing in technologies that block cyber attacks. Hiring analysts is another thing that can be done. The analyst would be able to process information and patch vulnerabilities, as well as triage threat alerts. It is also recommended that the company invest in an employee training program that focuses on safe computing practices in the workplace and at home, as well as an information assurance training course. These courses would help mitigate the risk to the company by helping employees better identify potential phishing attempts and possibly even insider threats. The last recommendation is for the company to have its cybersecurity intelligence vendor, specifically SAIC, have them send a team of their cybersecurity professionals to conduct further training for the company's employees on the cybersecurity technology systems that they have provided. This will ensure that the company's cybersecurity professionals are up to date on all the latest software and hardware updates, as well as new procedures. This becomes very important just because when employees are not up to date, then they represent a vulnerability to the company. This concludes my brief on the Cyber Threat Intelligence Plan. This is my references, and pending any questions, this concludes my brief. Thank you very much.